What's going on, guys? Cody from Motorcycle MD. Gonna bring you guys something super short, easy, straight to the point, idle jet extraction for those carbs that you cannot get the idle jets out of, especially if they're not supposed to be taken out. Let's do it. Working on a set of old vintage 750 automatic carbs, the CB750A, for a guy who reached out to me and wanted his carbs cleaned. Alright, and which is kind of an oddball thing, but he is actually putting pod filters on this, single filters as well as an aftermarket exhaust. As why, I don't know, and I really don't care. But that obviously requires jetting. And one of the main issues, the quirky things about the 750A, as well as the newer 750s, or a lot of different motorcycles have this style of system, but they have the slow speed circuit, or the, in some cases, the enrichment circuit, or the pilot circuit, or the idle jet. You'll see a non-removable jet inside the body. Okay, typically, I don't ever remove those unless I'm going after something that's very specific, like this, where this is a idle jet, a slow speed circuit, and in order for it to accept what this guy wants, we have to bump it up a little bit. The stock idle jet for these carbs in particular is a 0.38 millimeter, okay? And I'm going to bump it up to about a 40, 42 maybe. But I think I'm going to hit right around 40 and we should be good to go. I need to get that out, okay? Many times I've opened up carburetors in the field and found that people just grab a pair of pliers and start going after this thing, okay? They chew this all up, leave teeth in it, probably never get it out, sometimes break it off, sometimes break the body or the mold that it's in. There's a way to get them out. Okay, I have seen videos of this on YouTube, but I figured I would just add my own version of that to help you guys out with getting these type of jets out, the non-removable type. And yes, you can buy replacement jets for them, okay? Alright, they are not threaded in any way. They simply just press back into the body, which is how you would reinstall them. But as you can see, there is more to it than what you see on the surface. There are atomization holes to help mix that air and fuel for that slow speed, and they are important. And a lot of people, probably the number one most missed jet that I see, are people say, I can't remove that, so that means it's either A, not important, or I'll try to get something inside of it and see if that helps. But usually it doesn't help, or they just do it incorrectly. Okay, so I'm going to remove these and we're going to take them out. Like I said, nothing extravagant, no long history or short story of how to do a repair. We're just going to pop these things out. So what I use is this is from Snap-on. You can get this from any brand really, but when it comes to these extractor bits, I like to have a very high quality part and be able to replace them if I need to, you know, for free. So this is obviously missing its drill bits section, but this is pretty much what they look like. I'm sure you guys have seen something like this, where it's a reverse threaded extractor. Okay, these are an amazing tool to have. Above all else, extractor bits are absolutely fantastic tool to have in your toolbox because you never know when you'll need it, and they work a high percentage of the time if you do it correctly. Okay, so I'm going to grab my smallest one available, and we're going to be inserting it into our idle jet. Okay, I wouldn't say that this is a recommended way to use these all the time. This is just the way that I use them to get them out. Usually you'd have this a hole that's already pre-drilled, and you would just really start extracting it with the correct handle or tool to grab a hold of it. On this one, what we're going to do, we're going to give it a little bit of love with some hammer action, okay? Just a couple taps. That will help bring this into that very soft metal. Maybe even grab a hold of it for us. Maybe even help break some of that corrosion that may be built up around here by just kind of pressing it in slightly, okay? So then, we'll grab something that will grab the top of this tool. Usually I'll use a tap and die handle like this if it's small enough to collapse around the top. Sometimes, if you need to, a pair of vice grips works as well. It's your tools, use them how you want. So I'm going to take this, grab onto the top, and this extracts left-handed. Okay, so I'm not turning it inward as if I'm tightening it. I'm actually trying to loosen it, and it makes perfect sense because the threads are backwards on these extractor bits. So I'm going to take this, I'll slowly start to wiggle this back and forth, applying pressure downward until I can kind of feel it grab and give a little. Okay, it's starting to spin it. Okay, so as I'm spinning it, I'm going to kind of slowly pull outward. Hopefully this will not pop out, or my handle won't come off. Oh, there it goes. Came right out. Cool. So I wouldn't recommend doing this 100 times over, because obviously this is a press fit type system where it's being pressed into that hole, and it's actually pretty dirty inside of there. So doing this 100 times is going to eventually take the metal away from this seat as well as the jet that you're trying to do. So I usually like to do it no more than once or twice, and kind of leave it stock the way that it is. But in this case, one of the pain in the butt issues with these carbs is that the idle jets are not removable. Well, they are removable and you can replace them. So I'm going to bump these up a little bit larger. When you're going back in, just simply put the jet right on top of the hole, tap her back in so she's nice and seated. You can see that there's actually like 2 stages to this jet, where it has a shoulder on it, and obviously don't go past the shoulder. Otherwise you'll start cracking the body and then all your work is for nothing. On these older carbs, they're actually coming out very easily. In some cases, they're not coming out so easily, and you really got to put some force and patience until you hear it break loose. In other cases, what you can do is find the jet that you're trying to access, grab a little bit of some heat, okay, a little torch action, and I would just heat up right at the base of where that metal is. Not for a long time, just give it some searing action going on. And that usually helps a lot. Heat is your best friend when it comes to extraction. And just for fun, we'll do this one more time. Go ahead and give it some love. Make sure it's going in straight, which it's not. Alright. Yeah, see how easy that's coming out? These are a breeze. There we go. This is not a normal thing to do on your carburetor sets that have these. Normally you can just run a wire right down through them and you'll be fine. But that's it. Really short, really sweet. I hope this helps somebody out. Usually when I am doing this procedure, again, not all the time, very rarely, very rarely, okay? I'm not doing this for every carb body. You do not need to do that for every carb body. Hopefully it'll give him the ballpark of where he needs to be. Okay, I'm gonna go about probably 2-3 over on the idle jet, and then we'll bump the main jets up probably about 12 sizes. I usually get my jets from places like jetsrus.com. I'll put a link in the description for you. You can buy individual jets from them. They work great. I've used them 100 times. But I'm gonna hop back into these, get these wrapped up for this guy. And that's it. So I'm going to hop back in. Thank you guys for checking this out. Cody from Motorcycle MD, bringing you guys some quality tips and tricks for your next build or your daily rider. See you guys next time. Later.